Hey everyone, it's Jennifer Lahan with Lahan Home Team and eXp Realty, and I am here with your May market update. So let's get started because we have a lot to talk about. All right, first, Google reported last week that the search question, when is the housing market going to crash, spiked 2,450% in the past month. And I've even had clients ask me this, but the statistics, the data is telling us that is not going to crash, and there's no sign of that happening. Now let's look at the year-over-year change in listings. So you have your total listings, which is in orange, and then you have your new listings, and you notice that the new listings were actually starting to get more from the month of April. We saw an increase in the new listings, which is actually good news, and I'm hoping we're going to see more of that as we continue on. But we still have low inventory. So even though it's great that we're seeing more inventory, it's still not enough for the amount of buyers that we have out there. And we have less inventory than we've had over the last few years. Let's look at this inventory level. Look at 2020. This is so you can really see a visual of a comparison of what I'm talking about. Even though we've seen an increase in inventory, it's still not enough. We've had almost double, but since last year, and this year we're having a lot less, which is a problem if you are a buyer, and you might know that right now. So it's a very tough market for the buyers right now. Amazing market if you are a seller. What does NAR have to say? This is the National Association for Realtors. Demand remains strong as home buyers are snatching listings quickly off the MLS. And it takes approximately 18 days for a home to go from listing to a contract in the current housing market. A year ago, it took about 29 days. So we're having to get these listings on the market a lot quicker, and it is a lot more work because we're having to do it faster than we were a year ago because there's so much demand to get these houses on the market. Well, what's another question that I hear? When will the U.S. housing inventory grow again? There was a survey done with economists, and what they had to say was, well, let me just put it this way. 43% of them feel that we will see a growth in housing inventory starting in the second half of 2021. And you can see the percentage breakdown of what the other ones had to say as far as when they think. You can see here where the 26% said that they don't think we're going to see a growth until the first half of 2022. What are the top 5 reasons homeowners plan to sell this year? 1, our home no longer meets our needs. 2, we can make a profit in the current market. 3, we want a smaller house or less work. 4, we want to live closer to friends and family. Or 5, we want different features and amenities. This was from a recent survey that was done by Realtor.com. What is the average profit for home sellers? Well, guess what? It's increased a lot this year. Look at Q1 of 2020. This was the average profit that home sellers made. And now look at the profit in the first quarter of 2021. You are seeing a 26% increase. Now I'm hoping that we're going to see more homes on the inventory for that. What does Lawrence Yun have to say? This is not a bubble. It is simply a lack of supply, because that is something. When I started this slideshow, I mentioned that people are asking, is this going to crash? No, it's not going to crash. At least that's not what the data is showing us. It's just because there's a lack of supply and the demand is so strong that we're seeing an increase in prices. People are willing to pay more because they want this home. What about interest rates? We've seen them fluctuate, haven't we, already this year? This is taking you all the way back to 2020, and you can see where we started last year, right? Up at around 3.7, 3.75. Then, right at the beginning of this year, you can see where we had a big dip. We had historical lows. Then in March, it started to go up again. And just when you think, okay, we're going to keep going up, it actually went down a little bit in April. But we are maybe going to see it go up a little bit in the summer. In fact, let's look at the mortgage rate projections. You've got the Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, MBA, and NAR. These are the main big ones, right? These are what they are predicting. So you can kind of see that as we progress through this year and next year and the preceding year, that we don't see them going back down too much. But again, these are just projections. Things can happen over the next 2 years, and obviously that can have an effect on the mortgage rates. Mortgage rates, so again, this is from Freddie Mac, and you can see the 30-year fixed rate. The actual, because obviously we know what that was in the past, that's your dark blue. And in the blue, the light blue, that is what we are projecting or predicting. So you do see they are predicting they will go back up, but again, only time will tell. What about sales? Well, let's look at this nationally. Look at the average days on the market. It keeps going down. I think every video I do, it's going down further and further as far as how long these homes are on the market. The average in the United States is 18 days. And you can see the map. This is happening across the nation. There's only a few states where maybe it's a little slightly different, but still in the blue. Existing home sales, let's look at that. This is year over year by region. Notice in the Midwest, only 0.8%. And you can see in the Northeast, that's where you're seeing the highest percent here. New homes, let me tell you, new construction is selling like hotcakes. I mean, seriously, it is selling like crazy. We have a new home that we are building right now, and now we got in right at the right time, but I just went over there last week to check on our home, and they have a wait list now because they just can't sell enough of them. And so there is a wait list right now. So you can see that new home construction has greatly increased because of the demand for new homes and for demand for a home. Let's just say that. A demand for a home is getting new construction a lot of business. Pending home sales, so if you look year over year by the region, you've got overall the U.S. pending home sales, but then we've got it split up. Again, the West is doing amazing. A lot of people, for whatever reason, are moving out to the West. I'm sure there are several reasons. I've read a few of those. But we are seeing homes over there going very, very fast. And even in the South, look, the South is right next to that. We're in Orlando here, and we are seeing homes pending within a couple days. It is absolutely crazy down here. Home sales forecasted, now listen, they are forecasted to keep increasing, okay? They were nicely in 2021, and they should do well in 2022. And this is what they're predicting. So you've got the three big companies, right? Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, MBA. So 2021, this is the prediction for the increase. And then you've got 2022. So it's looking like you're still going to have this increase, right? But maybe it's going to slow down a little bit, but yet still have an increase. So we're not seeing a slowdown as far as home prices go for a while, or home sales. It looks like the demand is going to keep going for the next couple of years. What about home price forecast? Well, look right here. You've got a bunch of different predictions, right? They're kind of all over the place. You've got 6.8% average for all the forecasts. So we'll kind of use the average because you've got, for example, MBA on one extreme saying 10.3%, and then you got CoreLogic saying 3.5%. So the average is 6.8, and that is technically what they're suggesting for the 2021 home price increase by 6.8%. Percent of distressed property sales. So look at this. This actually is not that bad. A lot of people were thinking that we're going to see a lot of distressed property sales now, but right now we're actually not seeing that. And if you go back to 2012, look at that graph. There were way more in 2012, and now looking at 2021, we actually haven't had a lot. There's been a lot of programs helping people who have been distressed with their mortgage payments and so forth, so we're not seeing as much right now. What about home prices? Well, look at the year-over-year change right here. You're starting from March, right, from last year, and then going all the way up through February. We're seeing quite a bit as far as the price changes go. And I'm just going to leave that here for you to look at for a second, and then I'm going to go to the next slide. Of course, you can always pause the video, right? Year-over-year percent change in price. Now look at the current and the forecast. So year-over-year, we looked at basically over the last year, 11.3%. The forecast is 3.5%. So hopefully we'll see a little bit of a slowdown as far as the change in price and the increase goes. Now I've got some exciting news for y'all. Starting June 4th, we will have buyer and seller guides specifically for the summer. Right now we had the spring ones out, but starting June 4th, we will have ones that are specifically for the summer of this year. So if you're interested in getting those, just let us know. You can send us an email or call us and we will email you your guide. All right, next up, housing inventory. Here's the seller traffic index, okay? So if you're looking at this map here, you can kind of look at basically the states. You can see like the guide, right? Very weak is that dark gray as far as seller traffic goes. But notice where you're seeing kind of a disperse here of different states. You've got like Nevada, North Dakota. They're having strong seller traffic right now. So you're kind of looking around, you can see the difference. And then Delaware way over up in the Northeast. How about months of inventory of homes for sale, last 12 months? You can kind of see, this is basically the average, how many months of inventory we've had homes for sale. And if you notice, last year we had a lot more going on, and now this year it is definitely seeing a huge decrease, which is an issue, again, if you're a buyer. Look at the housing supply over the last year. We've been short for almost a year now, really. I mean, even though we had more, we still have had so many buyers and not enough homes on the market. And this is the last 12 months. What about new home inventory? They're doing great, of course, amazing. With the demand, like I mentioned a few slides ago, new home inventory is doing great. They're closing out very quickly. I've seen over in Lake Nona, almost every new home developer over there is sold out. There is just a couple we found that still have availability. We actually have a video on our YouTube channel that you can watch on that. It's David Weekley and Pulte. But other new home communities, they've already sold out. There's no lots left. All right, now let's get to our update, our Orlando update. So now we're going to go local. Orlando average sales. Now, I've been talking about this every month. When we look at last year, which is in the blue, 2020, I always like to compare. I think it's just so you know, I have a master's degree in statistical computing. So data analysis is like one of my favorite, most exciting things to do. So if I get excited reading data, that is why. All right, so let's look. In the blue, you've got the year 2020. Now, seeing good, right? We had a bit of slowdown, but then all of a sudden towards the second half of the year, we saw an increase in sales. Now, look in the orange, which is this year. Look at January, right? We started off, and then by April, we have a lot more. March was our peak so far. March, we had more. April, we still had a good amount. I mean, April still beats out January and February, but a little less sales we saw than we did March, but just a little bit less, like literally a couple hundred or so. What about average sales price though? Okay, so we saw a decrease in sales for April, but what happened with the price? Well, look at this. All right, so again, the blue is 2020. We saw how the prices were there. The orange is this year, your 2021. And if you notice here, in January, February, March, April, every single month, we're seeing the average sales price increasing. So even though we saw a decrease in sales for April, we did not see a decrease in sales price. So the average sales price is still increasing. And I'm anxiously waiting to see what happens for this month of May. But of course, we won't get that data until June. But I'm just waiting to see what happens for over this year. So that is basically your monthly market update for May. If you have any questions, please feel free to call us or visit our website at lahanhometeam.com.